Well, people are irate. Bob Huggins has been featured in a Pitt basketball promotional video. But what do I think? Well, it's not that I hate him like some people are saying.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby, where we're talking about the West Virginia hoops side today, and I appreciate you all for joining in. This episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends at Mazda. We're talking about Mazda here. Look, when it comes to Mazda, we know, you know it, I know it, we all know it. Like our players, we sweat every detail. Because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned for highlights later in this week's Moving the Game Forward with Mazda. Move and be moved. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being an everyday listener and part of the Locked On Podcast Network where we talk about your team and the Mountaineers every single day. I'm going to give you my final thoughts on all this later in segment 3, but we're also going to talk about this situation with Bob Huggins at Pitt in a promotional video. How do we fix this, right? What's the way forward? Because I think there's just a lot of emotions going on right now, and I understand why. And then we're also going to talk about the video itself, obviously, of Bob Huggins. And what did he say in the video? What was he doing there? Why was he on enemy turf, if you will? My name is Mountaineer Paul. If you don't know me, I host Locked On West Virginia, as you can see here. I do cover the Mountaineers 7 days a week and take pride in that, do multiple videos a day, have done multiple videos a day on West Virginia for over a year now. Been covering for much longer than that, several years. So if you're new, please stick around. I think you'll enjoy this take. If you want blood, this may not be your spot. So, okay. So I just got off the phone with Jay Kuntz. I don't use the contacts on my phone often, but I decided to call Jay and talk to him about this because I knew this was going to be a volatile situation last night whenever this all happened. And Jay is not surprised at this. I think he knows and knew that this was probably coming. At the same time, I think he is a little surprised at some of the reactions here. Some people want blood here, it's almost like, for this. And for those of you that don't know exactly what happened, Bob Huggins has been featured in a video for Pitt basketball, which we're going to play a clip of and try to get you sped up as to what exactly is going on here.
Jay was he was my guy. As we progressed, he became more and more a huge part of what we did. Jay knew how everything was supposed to be, and 99% of the time, he knew what he was doing and had everything fixed before I even had to do anything.
When I took the job, Hugs had a lot to do with that.
And I think Jeff does a terrific job of breaking things down. He's a good guy. He's a good coach. When you sit and you look at film and you try to digest what people are trying to do, I mean, he does a great job. And I think he does a great job with his players.
So that's the gist of it, guys. Yes, there is some praise for the Pitt coach in there. Here's my take on this, and I'll see how, we can kind of figure out along the way how you guys feel about this. I think this is a situation where, in my opinion, people just want something to complain about. I do think that the optics aren't good here. If you want to go that route, sure, we can go that route. The optics aren't great for West Virginia. But my thing is for those of you I'm going to share what Josh Wolfe said. He put it on social media. So I will go there and kind of share what he said and see what you guys say about this. He and I have not had the best relationship over the years, but I mean, I just want to, objectively talk about what he put out here. He said, Bob Huggins making sure he does everything possible to never be called a Mountaineer again. And he still hasn't deleted that. I wish he would delete that, because I understand why people are upset. You're at your biggest rival, this and that. Bob Huggins is banned from West Virginia. He's not able to even go into the facility, hang out with the players. He's not even able to go to hang out with Ross Hodge, give him advice, like he so clearly is here with Pitt. Pitt's not distracted. So what is he supposed to do? He's in his 70s now, and he loves basketball. And the one place that he could go be that person at isn't accepting him back because of mistakes that he made that are valid. They're valid mistakes. And I understand why people are upset over those. But it's been almost 4 years. As somebody who's been forgiven and should be buried underneath the jail, as I like to say, because of what I did in my past. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a grateful recovering addict of 6 years. There are things that I can't judge Bob Huggins for personally. Maybe you can. Maybe some people out here can throw the first stone. I'm not that person. As you guys know, I like to give a lot of grace when it comes to personal mistakes, because of my own personal mistakes that give me different clarity in life. As far as this goes, this is a guy supporting his assistant coach that was with him for almost 2 decades. I don't see anything wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I applaud it. Do I like the fact that he's on Pitt's turf? No. But that's an us problem. That's not a them problem. Of course they're going to accept him in. Hell yeah, they would. Why wouldn't they? It looks great. It's a great W for them. But on us, there needs to come a time to where we reconcile this. Why is the court not named after Bob Huggins? I mean, is it because of the things he said? Maybe you can never do that. Maybe I'm delusional. I get it. He said some slurs. He said some things that would be viewed as homophobic. And he said some things that would be very crude, to say the least, to a lot of people. And I get that. Jay Kuntz turned down 3 to 4 SEC upper 6-figure jobs. And all they wanted was Trey Mitchell and company for him to come and bring them with. He said Bob Huggins' loyalty is not going to change, and his loyalty is not going to change to Hugs over mistakes. Loyalty should not change in life over mistakes. Continued mistakes, yes, I can separate myself from you for a little bit. You got to get your stuff right. Then we can talk again later. From what I understand, Bob Huggins did that. Where's the reconciliation here? Because that's what this is a direct derivative of. If Bob Huggins was able to be involved with West Virginia basketball, I think he could support Jay in other ways. But this is scratching an itch for him personally. Put yourself in his shoes. Just my opinion. Jay Kuntz stayed when he didn't have to, by the way. And I do I have a personal friendship with Jay? To a certain extent, yes. It's mostly business when we talk, but I do consider him a personal friend as well. And, I understand why he may or may not have a lot of people in his corner right now from West Virginia because he's the GM at Pitt. But I can set that all aside, right? I think most people can. And he stayed when it was hard to stay. There was also the fact that he had a contract being worked out with Hugs that didn't get fixed because, unfortunately, the way the situation played out. And so he stayed for a lot less money. Those things matter a lot to me. And yes, the Hugs being in the Pitt video is bad optics, but I do not think it's the end of the world. And I do not think that we should all wish the worst on Bob Huggins. And like Larry Campbell says, wish nothing but the best for Huggins. I'm just happy he's back where he belongs in coaching. It is a non-issue, Leitzel, but people are making it one for sure. There are a lot of people not happy about this. I've got a lot of comments that I went and found, and even our media is posted things about this so far. So yeah, there are people that definitely are. And here's the thing: the Pitt fandom, of course, they're going to parade this around like it's a W. We would too, right? If we were them. So I don't think this is something that is beyond our fans' capability either. Like we would definitely do this. I'm not judging them for that, although it hurts to see. I want to get to I want to get to the meat and potatoes of the issues, right? Like, yeah, it sucks that he's at Pitt for sure. Do I wish he was there? No, I don't. Barnaby Jones, you're banned. I mean, that's just sophomore humor, man. We're not going to do that. All right, let's go to break. We'll be right back on the other side of Locked On West Virginia, where we're going to talk about how can we fix this? How do we fix the Bob Huggins situation? And, just hopefully make some kind of change to where we can get him back in Morgantown, because I don't like this. And there's got to be a way to ease back into this after the break. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends over at DoorDash, right? That's talking about DoorDash, guys. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For West Virginia, of course, we have to go with, you know what? I really can't pick anybody. I thought about it, and I can't pick anybody last week that deserved anything. There were 6 loafs on the second play in the game. But I will say I'll give a lot of credit to Rich Rodriguez just for being open and man enough to admit that we misevaluated, just like they said on 3 guys. So I'm going to say Rich Rodriguez. When the pressure was on, he came through with no hesitation or delay in his press conference. And if you've been watching week after week, Rich Rod is not afraid to take it on the chin. And at least in that fact of the matter, he's on a streak. And just like Rich Rod delivered for West Virginia, DoorDash can deliver for your Saturdays. When DoorDash streaks, you save every Saturday you order. It's stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250 and 100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day, and only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo code through 11/18. And, of course, we can't forget about our friends at Mazda. Look, when it comes to Mazda, we always got to talk about them, don't we? This episode brought to you by Mazda, moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and they move the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is, let's talk about this Bob Huggins situation being at Pitt. I do think that him going to Pitt is going to open some people's eyes potentially to a return for him. And this could be a moment that defines the game, right? When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. Just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda. Move and be moved. All right, guys. We are back. Locked On West Virginia in segment 2. And, of course, I'm going to grab a Diet Dew. Thank you guys so much. I don't know if Barnaby Jones is I was thinking about it during the ad. I don't know if he's an actual, maybe I overreacted on the ban there. I thought he was a Pitt fan coming in to troll me. He could be a West Virginia fan. And if you are, reach out to me on social media and I'll unban you. But I don't like those kind of jokes, brother. Like those are just, to me, are a little bit too immature. But I get it. Like, I'm very immature. I just don't like to make the wiener jokes and stuff like that stuff. Like, to me, that's just, I don't like that kind of stuff. So he just said that I wanted his wiener. You know what I mean? That's what he said. It's not that bothers me personally. I just don't like that kind of stuff being said. Right. My nephew watches the show. He's 12 years old. Like, I just personally, right? So that's all. I mean, that's why I try to make it as, I rarely cuss there, and all that. So that's why. All right. So thank you so much, guys, for allowing me to explain that. And I apologize for, all that kind of thing. All right. So how do we fix this? Because I think if there's anything that's evident, and I think that, the simplest answer is usually the right answer. And Bob Huggins being at Pitt has triggered some West Virginia fans today. Just go look at the comments under the video. I mean, I'm afraid to be honest. Let me go look at the video first because, uh, you know, uh, I just have a feeling there's probably going to be some off color things being said, obviously. Let's see. It's more of a lot of reposts. Holy cow. I can't go through all those. It's a lot of reposts going on. But anyways, I do have, let's see. I do have some that I wrote down anyways. Well, not wrote down, but I typed out. You've got Fall Caridi saying, dude has a buddy there visiting, and I don't blame him for that, which is great. Well, obviously we have the Wolfie thing. He's banned from the Coliseum. Obviously, that's true. Go Johnny A says he's racist, which is not true. Marshall Sucks says, why can't people just move on from him? He's no longer a West Virginian, in my opinion. These are pretty scathing remarks in a lot of these. I can't even read 3 or 4 of these because they're bad, But anyways, my point to all that is I think this has brought out hurt in people. Whenever people are hurt, they say things that they don't mean, right? You ever been mad at somebody and say something you don't really mean and you regret it? I have. And I think this is the first inclination. First thought wrong is what we say in recovery. First thought, wrong thought. My first thought was to blank, right? Well, that's not right. Let me play the tape all the way through. Let me think on that for a second. Okay, second thought is maybe still wrong. Let me play it a little further. Okay, that's probably what I should have done. In this situation, wishing death upon Hugs and nobody did that. I'm just making a generalization. I don't think that's the way to handle this. I think the only way you can fix this is reparations, right? You have to figure out a way to come together, university and former coach, and then also make it about supporting the team somehow, in my opinion. That's the best way to do it. Like he's got his fish fry. Well, let's do something similar to that. Or maybe we could do an unfiltered for West Virginia where Bob Huggins breaks down how the team did this week or that week. I mean, why isn't Coach Huggins on play-by-play beside Caridi or something? And people are going to bring up that he said these slurs. Well, Pitt doesn't care. Like, if I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't care. That's not the point here. Okay. I'm saying because I'm, affiliated with Locked On, I can't really go into details about this. So, I just have to dance around it. I would love to speak on it more, but I can't lose my job. So, what's the best way to put this without getting in trouble? Pitt has decided that they're okay with what Bob Huggins said, or at the very least, okay with the ramifications of being associated with the coach that said those things. They're doing it. Maybe West Virginia is saying, well, we're not willing to do that. If that's how you feel, then I get it. Go that route. But in 10 years or 15 or 20 years when Bob Huggins is gone, you can't do that. You can't go back. And I think it'll be a huge regret. And the people that are working here now, when that happens, Maybe he's gone in 5 years, maybe less. Who knows? He's in his 70s. Could literally happen any day, just like it could for any of us. I wish there could be a way to fix this to some extent before it's too late. And I want it to be with the people in power at West Virginia now, if possible. He's there to support Jay Kuntz. He's been banned from the facilities, as far as I know. His legacy is bigger than one goofy cameo at Pitt. It's been almost 4 years. It does fuel the rivalry a little bit more, which I think is a kind of a back end thing to talk about. And let's not forget, West Virginia plays this weekend. You don't think it's lost? It's not lost on Pitt that West Virginia basketball plays this weekend. They probably knows it'll take some shine away. Maybe I'm wrong on that. So how do you fix it? I guess I didn't quite get to that. We'll talk about it more after the break. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, as FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. It'll make you holla, and you'll get $300 in bonus bets. That's if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 to use across the app. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com today to download the FanDuel app today, and you too can get started. All right, so these are the ways I think we can begin to fix this. We can obviously launch a petition. That was something that was suggested to me. Bob Huggins has a lot of wins. He's got the Final Four. And I think you can use like change.org. You can use a forum. You can gather signatures called a Huggins appreciation event or something like that. And then email the petition to Ren Baker. There are several things you can do. You can go to the communications at wvsports.com, or you can, potentially, I know Gordon Gee's office used to be 185 WV-News. I don't know if that's still the same for President Benson now. You can organize a respectful town hall or fan forum for Coach Hugs. If you want to talk about fan healing, his legacy, that kind of thing, I think that's something you can definitely do. And I think Natasha Oakes, maybe you could do, somebody that works at wvsports.com. She's on there. Maybe you could talk with her about it. There is almost obviously you can mobilize alumni boosters for like a bridge building donation drive where you could partner with groups, whoever in the around Morgantown. Maybe my buddy Sean would want to do it, or somebody like that to fund scholarships for a return, and a non-official capacity, maybe an official advisor or sideline reporter or something. Like just something. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is all things that it's just never going to happen. But, there's also, there's so many things you can do. We can all advocate for policy review on his involvement, right? Like with West Virginia going forward, like there are ways that we can be heard if we really want this. But my question to you is, do you want this? Or are you done with Coach Bob Huggins and want nothing to do? Is he a stain on the university that you want nothing to do with? So both things can be true, though. Both things can be true. You can want the Ross Hodge era to succeed, and you could also appreciate what Bob Huggins did here. I don't understand. It happens everywhere. This narrative that he's somehow going to overshadow Ross Hodge, it's not going to happen. I don't believe that. I think that's silly. If Ross Hodge is winning, he'll be the most popular guy in West Virginia. That's a fact. You know, having Bob Huggins support only amplifies that. Bob Huggins is smart enough to know not to put it on himself. So that's just my point, my opinion, you know? Like, I just don't understand all this vitriol for Hugs. He made a mistake 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it is. I just wish it could be not what it is. Why do our greatest coaches always have to have some kind of situationship with them? I mean, it's like are we so offended all the time? Like Rich Rodriguez left the wrong way and couldn't come back for 17 years. Pat McAfee missed 2 kicks and didn't come back for over a decade. Bob Huggins said some things and did some things that definitely hurt. And now he can't come back. Like, are we always this offended all the time? Are we Karen? Like, I'm dead serious here. Every time I look, it's like we're so offended. We're like the people that we laugh at. Oh, look at that Karen. Like, that's how I feel like we are as a fan base. What a black eye. I just feel like I don't blame Jay, obviously. I don't blame Hugs even. I'm not even blame. I don't know who to blame. I don't want to. I'm not sitting here going to say it's Ren or anything either. I feel like Gordon Gee drove this bus, and he's not even here to deal with it at this point. To the point that I was told that Gee didn't even really want to hire Eilert because he was connected to Hugs. I don't know how true that actually is, so you can take that with a grain of salt. I don't know, man. Yeah, the comments, sure, whatever, but like I'm saying, I'm talking about moving forward. He's going to die soon. If that doesn't bother you in your heart, then maybe you don't have one. You know, like Bob Huggins did so much for West Virginians. And if you care about West Virginians, then you should care about this. It's just my opinion. Bob Huggins cares about the state as much as Rich Rodriguez and more, probably. So I just wanted to say, you know, I feel like this is one of them things that we're going to regret 10 years down the road. And we really need to figure out how to fix it now before later. So, yeah. I feel like, you know, there are some things that I just can't be fixed overnight. And this is one of them, perhaps. Thank you guys for joining in. Let me vent for a little bit. You know, I wish this was easier, but it's not. And we'll have to move on. But we'll be back later with another video. I thank you guys for joining me for this one. Hopefully, this situation plays out over the next, you know, hopefully a few months or years and things get fixed before it's too late. But I hold my breath on it. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team every single day in the Mountaineers. Before you go, guys, like the video, subscribe if you're new around here. And as always, share this thing out. And thank you so much for being here and a part of this. I love it. You love it. We all love it. Big weekend for West Virginia. We've got the TCU game, which I know a lot of you guys are still excited for. I am, even if we don't have a chance. And that's the first time I can remember saying that in a long time. Obviously, big basketball weekend for West Virginia. And like I said, maybe Pitt released this with that in mind. But remember, the Mountaineers have the balling at the Woodburn tonight. They have on Sunday a game against Wheeling University. We'll want to be keeping an eye on that too. Thank you guys so much. And let's get out of here and we'll talk later. But don't forget, Locked On West Virginia is your first listen, but Locked On Big 12 should be your second listen. They do an excellent job over there with Drake Toll. He covers the America's America's Conference in Locked On Big 12, and he's killing it over there if you can't tell. So make sure you check him out too. And we'll see y'all later. Until then, we are out of here. And don't forget to cue those country roads.